Hey there, fellow Americans. Whether you're living in the US or abroad, this message is for you. We know that being an American means carrying a piece of home with you, no matter where you go. But did you also know that it means carrying a piece of the tax burden too? Did you know that if you pack your bags and move abroad, Uncle Sam still expects a cut of your hard-earned cash? Yes, even if you're thousands of miles away, the tax man cometh. This can be a real shocker for many who thought they were leaving all that behind. Uncle Sam still expects a cut of your hard-earned cash. It's a reality many expats face every year. The United States is one of the few countries that taxes its citizens on their worldwide income, regardless of where they live. This means that no matter where you go, your income is still subject to US taxes. It's a system that has left many feeling frustrated and financially strained. It's true. The United States is one of the few countries that taxes its citizens on their worldwide income, regardless of where they live. This means that no matter where you go, your income is still subject to US taxes. For many, this can feel like an inescapable burden, a constant reminder of obligations back home. This can lead to a real pain in the you-know-what double taxation. Imagine earning money in a foreign country and having to pay taxes there, only to be taxed again by the US government. It's a frustrating situation for many. The complexity of navigating two tax systems can be overwhelming, and the financial hit can be significant. But wait, there might be a light at the end of the tunnel. There's hope on the horizon for all you expats out there. Change could be coming, and it might just make your financial life a whole lot easier. Donald Trump has been talking about changing this system for years, and now he's making it a key part of his 2024 presidential campaign. He believes that American citizens living abroad should not be burdened with double taxation. His stance is clear. It's time to reform the tax code to be fairer to those who choose to live and work outside the US, and now he's making it a key part of his 2024 presidential campaign. His promise to end double taxation is resonating with many expats who feel the current system is unfair. The idea of being taxed only once in the country where they actually live and work is a breath of fresh air for many. Could this be the end of double taxation for US expats? Imagine the freedom of earning your income abroad without the looming shadow of US taxes. It's a game changer for many. The potential for financial relief and simplicity is enormous, and it could encourage more Americans to explore opportunities abroad without fear of financial penalties. Let's dive in and find out. Stay tuned as we explore what this promise could mean for you and your financial future. We'll break down the details, look at the potential impacts, and see how this proposed change could reshape the lives of American expats around the world. Now, I know what you're thinking, John, isn't this just another one of Trump's empty promises? Well, maybe, maybe not. It's easy to be skeptical, especially given the political climate and the history of campaign promises that never quite materialize. But let's dive a bit deeper into what he's proposing this time around. After all, and every election cycle brings a fresh set of promises, and it's crucial to understand the nuances behind them. It's no secret that Trump loves to talk about tax cuts. He's made it a cornerstone of his political identity, often touting the benefits of reducing taxes for both individuals and businesses. His speeches are filled with rhetoric about economic growth, job creation, and putting more money back into the pockets of hard-working Americans. Remember the Tax Cuts and Jobs Act of 2017? Yeah, that was him. That piece of legislation was one of the most significant changes to the tax code in decades, and it had a wide range of impacts on the economy. It lowered the corporate tax rate, aimed to simplify the tax filing process, and promised to spur economic growth. Critics, however, argue that it disproportionately benefited the wealthy and increased the national deficit. This time around, he's specifically targeting American expats, a group that's often overlooked in the political arena. These are US citizens who live and work abroad, and they often face unique tax challenges that those living stateside do not. Double taxation, complex filing requirements, and navigating foreign tax systems are just a few of the hurdles they encounter. Why now? Well, for starters, there are millions of Americans living abroad, and they represent a significant voting bloc. Their votes can be crucial in tight elections, and addressing their concerns can be a strategic move. By focusing on this group, Trump is not only broadening his appeal, but also tapping into a pool of voters who may feel neglected by previous administrations. Plus, promising to ease their tax burden is a pretty good way to win over some hearts and minds. Many expats feel burdened by the complexities of the US tax system, and a promise to simplify it could resonate strongly with them. Simplification could mean fewer forms, lower compliance costs, and potentially more favorable tax treatment, making their lives a bit easier. So, is it all just a ploy for votes? It's a valid question. Politicians often make grand promises during campaign season, only to fall short once in office. The real test will be whether these promises translate into actionable policies that genuinely benefit the targeted groups. Time will tell, but it's definitely something worth paying attention to. As the campaign trail heats up, keep an eye on how these promises evolve and whether they translate into concrete policy changes. Stay informed, scrutinize the details, and remember that every vote counts in shaping the future of the nation. Okay, time for a quick civics lesson. Most countries in the world use a system called residence-based taxation. This means they only tax you on income earned within their borders. Makes sense, right? Well, the United States does things a little differently. We use a citizenship-based taxation system, which means that if you're a US citizen, you owe taxes on all your income, no matter where you live or work. This can create a huge headache for expats who often end up paying taxes in both their country of residence and the US. Talk about adding insult to injury. Remember that 2017 tax law I mentioned earlier? Well, it actually made things a bit more complicated for some expats. While it lowered taxes for many Americans, it also included provisions that specifically targeted businesses operating overseas. This hit small business owners particularly hard, as they often lack the resources to navigate the complex web of international tax laws. It's enough to make you want to renounce your citizenship and move to a tropical island with no extradition treaty. Section 5. Navigating the maze FEIE and Tax Treaties. Don't worry, it's not all doom and gloom. There are some ways to mitigate the pain of double taxation. One option is the Foreign Earned Income Exclusion, or FEIE, which allows you to exclude a certain amount of your foreign earnings from US taxes. Another option is to take advantage of tax treaties. These are agreements between countries that aim to avoid double taxation and prevent tax evasion. While they can be helpful, they're often complex and difficult to understand without the help of a qualified tax professional. Section 6. The passive income predicament, a thorn in the expat's side. Here's the kicker. Even if you qualify for the FEE or a tax treaty, there's one area where expats often get hit hard: passive income. This refers to income earned from investments, rental properties, and other sources that don't require active work. Unfortunately, the FEIE doesn't apply to passive income, and tax treaties often have limited benefits in this area. This means that even if you're working your tail off in a foreign country, you could still end up paying a hefty chunk of your investment income to Uncle Sam. Section 7. A glimmer of hope, potential impact of Trump's proposal. So, what would happen if Trump actually follows through on his promise to end double taxation for expats? This question has been on the minds of many American expatriates who feel the burden of being taxed twice on their income. Double taxation has long been a contentious issue, causing financial strain and frustration among those living abroad. Well, it's hard to say for sure without seeing the specifics of his plan. The details of such a proposal would be crucial in determining its actual impact. Would it be a blanket policy, or would there be exceptions and conditions? These are the nuances that could make or break the effectiveness of the proposal. However, if he were to implement a residence-based taxation system, it would be a game changer for many Americans living abroad. This system would mean that US citizens would only be taxed on the income they earn within the United States, not on their global income. This shift could potentially align the US with many other countries that already follow this model. They would no longer be subject to US taxes on their foreign income, which could free up significant resources for investment, entrepreneurship, and simply enjoying their lives overseas. Imagine the possibilities for American entrepreneurs who could reinvest their savings into their businesses or new ventures. This could lead to a surge in innovation and economic activity among the expat community. Families could also benefit, as the extra financial freedom might allow for better education opportunities for their children or more frequent visits back home. The emotional and psychological relief of not having to worry about double taxation could improve the overall quality of life for these families. Of course, the devil is in the details, and it remains to be seen how such a system would be implemented and what the long-term consequences might be. There are concerns about how this change would affect the US economy and its tax revenue. Would the potential loss in tax revenue be offset by other economic benefits? Policymakers and tax experts would need to carefully consider the potential ripple effects. Would this lead to a significant loss in tax revenue for the US? How would it impact the relationship between the US and other countries? These are questions that need thorough examination. The international implications could be vast, affecting trade agreements and diplomatic relations. For now, American expats can only watch and wait, hoping that any changes will bring about a brighter, more financially secure future for them and their families. The anticipation is palpable, as they dream of a day when their financial burdens are eased and they can fully enjoy their lives abroad without the looming shadow of double taxation. Section 8. The uncertain future of expat taxation. One thing's for sure, the issue of expat taxation is complex and constantly evolving. While Trump's proposal has generated a lot of buzz, it's important to remember that this is just the beginning of a long and potentially bumpy road. There are many hurdles to overcome, including opposition from Congress and the challenge of crafting a system that's fair and equitable for all taxpayers. Section 9. What do you think? Join the conversation. Well, folks, there you have it. The future of expat taxation is uncertain, but one thing's for sure. This is an issue that's not going away anytime soon. What do you think about Trump's proposal? Should the US move to a residence-based taxation system? Share your thoughts in the comments below.